line breaking and purging. Line breaking is the intentional opening of a pipe, line, duct, or vessel that contains or has contained a material capable of causing injury. The following presentation will list strategies for minimizing risk along with some specific techniques to help you safely break and purge lines and equipment. Strategies to minimize risk. Plan the work. It's a really big deal. Turn off the supply. It seems obvious. Consult the safety data sheet. You know, the one safety people are always blathering about. And finally, stay out of the line of fire. Line breaking is a big deal and should not be taken lightly. When planning the work, you should collaborate with area supervisors, operators, and maintenance personnel. This is also an excellent opportunity for you to put your safety person on the spot and see what ideas they can bring to the table. Explore multiple scenarios and plan for the worst. This is no place for I thinks. You need certainty. Turn off the supply, of course. But are you certain the valve is not leaking by? Can you shut two valves? What about common vents and drains? Can they be isolated as well? Consult the safety data sheet. Specifically, you should be looking at Section 6, Accidental Release Measures, Section 7, Handling and Storage, and Section 8, Exposure Controls and Personal Protection. These sections spell out important precautions for the product itself and the person working with it. Stay out of the line of fire. This means positioning your body in such a way so that when that worst case scenario event that you planned for happens, you will not suffer the effects of it. Will the line break release stored energy? Was the line pressurized? Or maybe it's simply full and 500 feet of sludge pipe is about to gravity feed into your pump room. Is gas building up in a dead-end line? Are there striking hazards from falling components or tools? Will the pipe shift when it comes loose, creating a hand or a crushing hazard? Consider these things before the break and keep yourself out of the line of fire. Next, we'll look at some specific ways to minimize the risk. Down and away. This is Bob. Bob is going to perform a line break on this comically large ferric chloride pipe. After careful planning has ensured that this will not disturb operations, Bob shuts off the supply. When consulting the safety data sheet, Bob determines he needs to add safety glasses and a face shield to his PPE. Now to avoid the line of fire. Bob will use a technique called breaking down and away, keeping himself on the top or upside of the pipe and loosening the bolts on the bottom or downside of the pipe. Bob keeps himself away from the ferric in the pipe as it drains. The alternative of up and in would put Bob front and center of a bad experience. Some ways to minimize the risk if you're breaking a gas line: use large fans to ventilate the area. Also, continuously monitor the area using a gas meter. And finally, a simple way to minimize risk when you're dealing with liquids: contain that liquid. Now for purging. Purging is displacing of one product with another, usually a safer product. For example, filling a very large tank completely with water is a form of purging. Nitrogen is the most common gas used for purging. Nitrogen typically arrives in dewars that are roughly the size of a water heater. Inside is a very cold, 320 degrees below zero cold, liquid nitrogen. When purging, use the gas valve on the dewar to allow the warmer now nitrogen gas to expand and flow into your line. What about that nitrogen? About 4/5 of the Earth's atmosphere is nitrogen. Its inert properties make it useful for excluding moisture from vessels in storage. However, don't mistake its abundance and inert quality to mean it's completely safe. In confined areas, nitrogen can displace oxygen that you may be counting on to breathe later. When using liquid nitrogen, you should remember that skin contact can cause nitrogen burns. It can permanently damage your eyes. Should always wear a face shield and goggles, as well as insulated gloves and splash-resistant clothes and shoes. A surface sprayed with liquid nitrogen will be frozen, and if you touch it, your skin can be torn off. If you are storing liquid nitrogen, leave plenty of room, as it expands greatly as it warms. And finally, if you are in a room and some liquid nitrogen spills, get out of there, as it will displace the oxygen as it changes from a liquid to a gas.
Run away! Run away!
Here's an example of a bad idea using liquid nitrogen. Jägermeister, need I say more, sponsored a pool party in Mexico. They used the nitrogen to create this fog effect that you see right above a swimming pool. That's great for watching people hanging out, but bad for the people that are swimming. It really limits the amount of places you can find air to breathe.
In summary, line breaking is the intentional opening of a pipe, line, duct, or vessel that contains or has contained a material capable of causing injury. Purging is the displacing of one substance for another. Nitrogen, though common, can still be dangerous. Liquid nitrogen, though cold, can burn you. Line breaking strategies to help you minimize risk include: plan the work, turn off the supply, consult the safety data sheet, and stay out of the line of fire. If you have any questions about line breaking or purging, please ask your training provider.